2. Work and study.
Are you studying or working?
I am a university student majoring in English, and I am studying at Beijing Foreign Studies University, which is a top university which has a good reputation for its high enrollment rate.
How was your first day of your college?
It was absolutely unforgettable. I was both nervous and excited. I was nervous because it was the first time for me to leave my parents and live independently. I was excited because it was the time for me to wave bye-bye to the high school time and say hello to the college life. I'm not exaggerating. I suffered from the severe insomnia for the whole night, thinking about all the things that would happen and people that I would meet the next day.
What are the courses you like and dislike most in the high school?
In the curriculum, I am passionate about chemistry and English. However, geography and mathematics are definitely not my strong suits. I am not good at directions and numbers.
Do you love your high school teachers?
I love them. They always inspire me to learn rather than force me to learn. In other words, they know how to encourage me to show my initiative rather than cram knowledge into my brain and push me into learning things passively.
What do you think a good teacher would be like?
I think a good teacher should be able to inspire students to learn rather than force them to learn. He or she is supposed to be charismatic, knowledgeable, modest, considerate, and inspiring. I totally buy the saying that a mediocre teacher tells, a good teacher explains, and a great teacher inspires.
Do you love your major?
Definitely. I am madly in love with my major because I know it might sound quite cliched, but it is something that I had always dreamed of studying since I was little. You know, interest is all that matters.
Why did you choose this major?
For starters, I stand a good chance of getting a decent job after I graduate. Besides, this major enables me to fulfill my full potential. On top of it, this field has great career prospects.
Do your parents support you in your study?
Totally. They are very supportive of my decision. Actually, they always say that no matter what decision I make, as long as I am happy, they are happy for me. They believe that I am a wise decision maker. I am very lucky to have parents like them.
What are the things you like and dislike in your major?
English is a beautiful language, and learning it is super fun. I'm telling you, speaking English fluently gives me a great sense of satisfaction and achievement, and makes me feel super confident about myself. But sometimes, something like complicated grammar, vocabulary of over 20 letters, and different tense changes are totally driving me nuts.
What are the difficulties in your study, work?
Well, I am afraid that I might not be able to come up with any particular difficulty. If there is any, I guess it is a kind of the invisible pressure which could come from anywhere, the pressure coming from the academic study, piles of work, interpersonal relationships, and fierce competition.
Who helps you most in your study?
It is definitely my professor. She is a great teacher who totally proves the saying that a mediocre teacher tells, a good teacher explains, and a great teacher inspires. She always inspires me to learn rather than force me to learn passively and mechanically, and whenever I got questions, she always gives me a helping hand.
If you were working, which would be more important for you, the happiness of work or the income of work?
I think happiness of work definitely outshines the income of work. As far as I am concerned, the happiness from work is more like a sense of satisfaction and achievement. It is something that can't be measured in terms of money. But of course, the happy we are talking about here is based on a prerequisite that the pay is great.
What do you do?
I am working for Lenovo as a marketing director.
Do you love your job?
Very much. I am passionate about my job on so many different levels. I love my job not only because I can get a high annual salary, a tempting bonus and welfare benefits, but also because I can get a great sense of satisfaction and achievement. The icing on the cake is that working in this field for all these years made me build up a network of professional contacts, which is super important in this industry.
What are your job responsibilities?
My job responsibilities mainly include analyzing the international and regional markets, writing research reports, making marketing strategies, arming sales teams by feeding them marketing databases, organizing events and seminars, working with PR agencies to improve the brand image.
What are the things you like and dislike in your job?
It is a super challenging job which enables me to feel quite fulfilled. This job also makes me totally understand the true meaning of a great sense of satisfaction and achievement. And of course, the high salary, the bonus, and good welfare benefits also meet my material demand. These are what I love about my job, which gives me a strong incentive to work harder and stand out. But sometimes I might work a little bit too hard to remember I am only a human being who has a family. I can't be so addicted to my work that I totally forget about my family. I owe my family too much quality time. You know, I definitely don't want to become one of those guys who live to work. It is way too pathetic.
What are the difficulties in your job?
The competition today is getting tougher and tougher in the whole industry. As a leader of a team, I have to make sure that my team stands out among all the competitors and makes the biggest contribution for my company. And once I fail to do it, I will feel very frustrated with myself, so I always feel this invisible hand push me. Well, it is a good thing to feel the pressure, but on the other hand, it is difficult to be on top all the time.
Who helps you most in your job?
My wife helps me most. She gets everything in family well arranged and has always been very supportive of my work, which enable me to concentrate all my efforts on work and not to be distracted by those family trivialities. I want to say that I am so blessed to have such a great wife.
What is your ideal job?
My ideal job is to run my own company. Actually, it has always been my dream to have a company of my own. I think if I could carve out a successful career of my own someday, it would be a dream come true for me.
What are the jobs that young guys kill for today?
Well, I figure that guys who have admirable jobs are IT engineers, college professors, advertising managers, financial advisors, pharmacists, psychological therapists, public relations specialists, lawyers, urban planners, architects, and veterinarians.
Do you think it is easy to get a job at the moment?
To be frank, I think it is always easy to get a job, but it couldn't be harder if you want to get a good job. To begin with, the competition nowadays is very fierce. Another reason is that job vacancies are in short supply. On top of it, some of the job hunters are aiming too high, expecting too much, while socially inexperienced, especially to those graduates. What they are facing is a catch-22 situation.
How do you feel about the frequent job hopping?
I think this whole thing has its bright side and its dark side. First, let us take a look at the bright side. First of all, it's a fantastic way to maintain passion in your work. You know, jumping out of a monotonous zone, and you will have an infinite stage to shine. And frequent job changes keeps your learning curve high, makes you versatile and knowledgeable. Finally, frequent job hopping allows you to build a professional and vibrant network. However, the bright side doesn't overshadow its dark side. Job hopping too much would give recruiters an impression of being insecure, aggressive, and not pragmatic, which will definitely cause a bottleneck in people's careers. Therefore, if the job is not a dead-end job, just stick to it and work hard.
If you were the human resource manager, would you hire those guys who are always changing their jobs or those working for the same job forever?
If I were the human resource manager, I would prefer those guys who would like to stay in one job for a long time. I think long-term commitment and steadiness in one position are very important. It won't gain the employee any extra credit showing off his or her frequent job hopping records in resumes. On the contrary, it might become a red flag and make the employee stand no chance of getting the job.
Do you think people should work at weekends?
Well, it totally depends on what kind of job that people do. If people work in some service industries like shopping malls or restaurants, working at weekends is a must. They might take 1 day or 2 off during weekdays. Duty calls. But if people already work from Monday to Friday, working at weekends might be a little bit too much. People wouldn't be totally overloaded with work.
Do you think people who are working at weekends should get double or even triple pay?
I think it is pretty reasonable. Weekends are the time when people should enjoy the quality time with their family. Working at weekends means that they have to sacrifice their private time. Double or triple pay is at least a kind of compensation. In other words, they deserve their money.